Hello, Festival of Urgent Reinventions. What an honor it is to share with you something that is extremely passionate to me and my family and has driven me for decades. It's the notion that the digital divide is a civil rights issue and is one of our current most important issues of our era. My name is Olatunde Sobomehin, and I came to Stanford University in the middle of Silicon Valley right at the turn of the century. 1998, 1999, I arrived, and quickly after asking the question, what is my contribution going to be to the civil rights movement? I wanted to be a Dr. King, I wanted to be a Malcolm X. What am I going to be able to contribute to my grandkids to have a better life? And I came across Jesse Jackson, who while based in Chicago, had an office in Silicon Valley. And his message at the time was that the digital divide was the civil rights issue of our era. I was blown away. I thought education or college admission was going to be something that somebody would naturally say is our issue. And that was what the issue was around my community at that time. But Jesse Jackson brought a brand new perspective. He talked about the money that was being made in technology, that for a time and for a moment in time, there was no question about who you knew or the old boys network, but that technology gave a brand new opportunity for people who were left behind to now catch up. And that it was the fourth civil rights issue because while Black people had fought and won freedom from slavery, had fought and won the right to go to school with legal, to banning legal segregation, had earned the right to vote or had won the right to vote, excuse me. Now it was talking about economic inclusion. This was mind blowing because while I knew money was important, I knew economic inclusion was important, I didn't know how much technology was going to play a role. But Silicon Valley was giving way to its first economic boom. People were thriving. College students were dropping out of Stanford. Classmates of mine were studying. So I really took to this notion that the digital divide was going to be one of our civil rights issues. And while I was socially minded, I got around a lot of technically minded people to figure out what was this thing going to be all about. And so today, I'm a CEO of one of the fastest growing organizations in Silicon Valley called Street Code Academy. We've grown from 20 students in our first class in 2014. We now serve 3,000 students, providing free tech education in coding, entrepreneurship, and design. So now I want to tell you kind of how it all began. This is me when I was a young kid. And to me, one of the things that's incredibly important as we queue up for you taking stock and you thinking about your own life and how you can come up with something that's a reinvention. And it's urgent because this is a civil rights issue. What could technology play? We got to pull into who we are. I pulled into who I was. This is me growing up in Portland, Oregon, after I was born in a car in Los Angeles, quickly moved to Nigeria, and due to political reasons, had to relocate here into Portland, Oregon. My father was working with the city and got exposed to the prison system. The prison system, while Black people were 1.9% in the state of Oregon, we were drastically overrepresented in the prison system. And when my father got exposed to the maximum security prison and saw the amount of capable, able, brilliant young men that were locked up, my father quit his job the same day. And he and my mom decided to spend their life serving the community. That's what shaped me. It's what shaped me and my three younger brothers to give us an identity of not just looking out for ourselves, but looking after others, not just looking after the now, but looking after the future. And what seeds are we going to plant that will give better fruit in generations to come? So I came to Stanford looking for what that was going to be. And I remember meeting Jesse Jackson and being exposed to this notion, and then digging into more and more the economic struggles, digging into more and more the technology opportunities that could mean for that. And I created a program called Step Up, Students Using Technology to Empower People for United Progress. One of our first service programs was to take a tour of the prison system. We called it From the Revolving Prison Door to the Evolving Digital Door. It was a first step we could take. This is in 1999. where group of friends of mine took some students up for what we call an alternative spring break. We used our spring break to explore the prison system and then to also explore how we could provide opportunities to folks who are getting out. Again, from the revolving prison door to the evolving digital door. One of the things we found out was there were ways that we could teach young people enough, we call it coding skills, but really it was kind of UI, UX skills to build their own website, to get their own story out, and how that could be an avenue for giving people a voice. Well, that turned into, we did that trip for a week, we came back, and I continued to pour in thought into what I was gonna do with my life to be able to solve or to address this civil rights issue of our era. I came up with a camp called Applied Business Computer Camp, that I would come back the summer after my second year and go back to Portland, Oregon, and offer this to the high school students that I had known so well going to high school there in Portland, Oregon. And I remember coming up with a curriculum where we were going to build websites. We were going to take young people, teach them how to build these websites, and then go down Martin Luther King Boulevard, knock on the doors of businesses and ask them, do you need a website built? My hunch was that everybody there was going to need a website built and would pay money for young people to build that website for them and get them to tell their story. And again, this needed no prior requirement. This somebody who could even be failing in school, but could be offered these skills and be given a whole new economic opportunity. I remember being so excited. I reserved the computer cluster at my old high school. I had all my flyers designed. I got the word out to the teachers that I knew to get out to the students who I was a little more disconnected to after leaving college. I remember coming back that first day and there were 0 people that showed up. I was heartbroken. I thought, and I was convinced this was a powerful opportunity, not just to empower yourself with technology skills, not just to empower yourself with a good experience and a good summer experience, but something that would put money in your pocket and would better our community. It was a win-win. And especially thinking and knowing that the same people that I cared so much about that would take advantage of this were waking up at 6 in the morning, even sometimes earlier, to get to the gym at 6 or 6:30 a.m. to practice basketball. And that's one of my first lessons that I learned along this way, that I needed to make, if I was gonna make opportunities available to people who I cared about, they needed a way for it to make sense to them. Much like Jesse Jackson made it compelling to me, someone I cared about civil rights, and he made technology education something that appealed to me. I needed to make it appeal to my community. And that's when I came up with a notion called making popular culture positive, so positive culture can be popular. This began almost my mission in life. And we created a company called F.O.U.R. I was in college and I said, I want to do exactly what our community already is doing. I want to use basketball. I want to use fashion. I want to use culture. I want to use entertainment to make positive culture popular. So we came up with a company called F.O.U.R, education and service through fashion, athletics, community, and entertainment. I worked my tail off to make it on the basketball team. I created fashion lines and partnered with one of our celebrities on campus to build lines that would promote positive messages. We did those things and went to rallies like this rally here, where it was affirmative action rally in Washington, D.C. But we use these platforms to be able to bring, we use our own culture, we use our own platforms to bring the messages that we wanted people to hear. We had to meet our students, we had to meet our community exactly where they were. And for the young people that I grew up with, the young people that I knew, this was the way I could get them, through the face of popular culture, fashion, athletics, community, and entertainment. And that allowed me to learn a whole lot. It allowed me to learn youth empowerment. It allowed me to learn community organizing. It allowed me to learn how to use these various things to even get the messages across. And soon I was using all of these same platforms to actually get to technology. And it's about 2013 now, we're creating a program using hip hop and hip hop technology to be able to get across good messages like fighting gentrification or learning science standards. And quickly it exposed itself that our young people in our communities were more apt to technology education than they were 10 years prior. We had more cell phones in Silicon Valley. There was now a second wave of people becoming millionaires, sometimes billionaires, with the technology that was right in our hands. And so we felt a hunger in our community. And in 2014, we created Street Code Academy. Street Code Academy, as I mentioned, one of the fastest growing organizations in Silicon Valley that's providing free technology education to our community. And this is our motto: let's bring innovation to everyone. We started out by serving 16 to 24-year-old students in a web design class, teaching them JavaScript, CSS, and HTML. And these 16 to 24-year-olds birthed brand new ideas. Some of the best ideas that I still hold on to were from that first session. Ideas like Ambition Spotlight, where David Chapman and his team thought about a way that would allow people like him to connect with folks, not on where they've been, because in his case, he had only had retail experience, but where they want to go. And in his case, he wanted to be a designer. How can I connect on people on my ambition, not just my previous experience, especially when previous experiences are biased towards people who have advantage, but aspirations and ambition is free for all of us. And so he built this powerful concept that I still hold on to that inspires our work today. And quickly, people's families began to come. And we began to address a very important issue where communities of color are disconnected from innovation opportunity. Now, as Jesse Jackson messaged, this is important, not just because connection to innovation opportunity, connection to technology is good for our overall well-being. And we know that coming out of a pandemic, we know how much technology has shaped and has influenced our world. But it also meant that it was connected to our economic opportunity. And we knew that our students, Black and Latinx students, were not being given these opportunities. We were left behind in school. We were left behind in job opportunities. And this was important because the wealth gap was already big. And the biggest driver to close that wealth gap was technology and the money that was happening with technology. But what if technology is not diverse? What if technology is not equitable? Well, it would only drive the wealth gap even further. And that's bad for our entire society. And so we began to say, how are we going to bridge this? And we bridged it with three components: using mindset, skills, and access. Mindset was, we were going to make sure that people in our community knew that technology was an option for them and they believed it. The next, we were going to provide them skills that actually qualified for these jobs in the 21st century. And last, we were going to provide access. That's real world opportunity for them to get job training, entrepreneurial training, for them to actually make those come to life and see the innovation economy that we talked about. These are a set of programs that we came up with that changed every single year. Again, there was an urgency about what we were trying to do, and we needed to reinvent ourselves time and time again. So what started out as just classes is now including huddle ups. It's now including Street Code in 60 seconds, where we can provide short clips that inspire people on what technology is. It includes pop-ups that are 60-minute opportunities for people to get skills. And it even includes one-year programs where we're helping people launch their own businesses. And this was crucial because we saw a demand not only from the industry, but from our community. And we quickly grew, almost doubled every single year, from 158 students in our first year, again, 20 students in our first class, to now we served over 3,000 students last year. That brings our total enrollments to 8,000 people since our founding in 2014. And Stanford just recently talked about our program being one of the best that they've seen, that most programs give a 3 or 4x on an impact multiple of money. But the Stanford Graduate School of Business looked at our program and said, not only are you working with students who just keeping them in school gives it cost savings to our cost savings to our economy, but it also provides, when you give them skills in STEM, there's a lifetime earning that can happen. When you connect them with networks and make meaningful relationships with folks, there's a build on, and there's more and more money. So here we are proving that providing these tech skills actually do what that fourth civil rights issue is. It's connecting people to economic opportunity by way of technology. And these numbers are numbers, but there are real people behind these numbers. And one of them is a brother named Max, who came to us as a student, loving technology as an early high school student, but really no community that shared that passion. And so he joined us, ended up building a original program, software of himself, that would allow him to be able to deliver meals to people who needed it. He made a product with Amazon. And this year is his first year at UC Berkeley, one of the preeminent public universities in our country, studying computer science. And it's not just people like him, it's an impact in my own household. My daughter Tati was introduced to technology, but didn't want to do coding. But she's used technology to be able to build film and to be able to create film. And now she is a film director, a filmmaker, and she's made videos even that have been reposted and supported by LeBron James, by Snoop Dogg, that has advanced issues like Black Lives Matter. And that's what technology empowers our community to do. We have an opportunity now to allow to inspire you to think about how you are going to reinvent in this issue, particularly now with the pandemic and all that has shown us about technology, where now you can't pay your bills without technology. You can't look for a new job without technology. You can't sometimes go to school without technology. That access to technology is one piece of it that we certainly have to address. But then even allowing people to attain the skills, have the mindset, build the access and the connection to networks so that this could actually turn into economic empowerment, that becomes even more crucial. So we have to think about, how are we going to reinvent under this new urgency? And so we have a prompt for you to be able to think about this. And so we've talked about the wealth gap. We've talked about the need for folks who have been left behind, the need for folks who have been disconnected to be able to access that, not just simply the people who have it now. And we've seen in the recent pandemic that tech companies and people who have wealth are only getting wealthier. And we need to be able to close that gap, close that divide, and be able to allow everyone, especially those in underrepresented communities, to be able to access that economic opportunity through the tech skills, through the tech industry. So we want you to develop a tool. We want you to think about a platform, a plan, a strategy, a product. It may be a program like mine. It may be a brand new web app. It may be a physical product. It may be something that's mailed to every household in these communities. Think about something that's unique. Think about something that connects to your past, things that you've learned from your experience on earth, things that you've learned from your friends and from your community. But think about how it could connect to underrepresented communities that gives them long-term opportunities in the tech industry. One of the things that we don't want to do is just create something that gives somebody a short-term taste but no follow-through. Let's think about something that could actually lead to sustainable and long-term solutions for these communities. Think about the voices. It may be people in your own family. It may be people that you grew up with. Think about those who may not be left behind just simply because of race. It may be another marginalized community that you're connected to that you could think about that could help inform this tool. Think about that in your planning. Think about affordability. Think about accessibility. And I can't wait to see what you come up with. It's been an honor to share about my story. I'm super glad that you took the time to participate not only in this conference, but in this particular talk. I'm super excited to talk about this. I've committed my life to trying to bring new opportunities to underrepresented communities by way of technology. And so if you would like to get in touch with me or my work, You can find us on the information that's provided to you. You can see our work at www.streetcode.org. And again, I can't wait to see what you come up with. Let's reinvent and create a better future. Thank you.